Hi everyone, and welcome back. Today's little-known story takes us to Boston, Massachusetts. It is a very sticky and deadly event. A flood of molasses that killed 21 people in Boston Harbor. Before we begin, please make sure to like and subscribe for future videos. Molasses is a black sticky goo, similar to maple syrup that you put on your pancakes, only thicker. It is made from refining sugarcane into sugar and has many uses. Primarily used to sweeten food, it's used to make brown sugar, distill rum, and was a key component in the making of ammunition. Located in the northern section of Boston, the Puritan Distilling Company used a huge tank in the Boston Harbor to store their molasses. This tank stood 50 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter. It held almost 2.5 million gallons of the sticky goo. Tanker ships docked in the harbor would unload their molasses by pumping them into the storage tank. It would later be transferred by pipeline to a plant in nearby Cambridge. The winter of 1919 was a very cold winter for Boston, with frigid temperatures. In early January, a ship pulled up into the harbor with a fresh load. Because of the freezing temperatures, the molasses needed to be heated to make the transfer easier. This was a standard operating procedure because when it was cold, it was too thick to pump. When it was warm enough, they pumped the full heated load into the storage tank. The very next day, on January 15th, temperatures in Boston climbed rapidly above 40 degrees, much warmer than it has been. The warmer weather, combined with the heated molasses, caused the tank to make some strange noises as it swelled. At noon, people nearby heard what sounded like a machine gun as the rivets shot out of the tank. Then, the ground shook. A thunder-like boom unleashed millions of gallons of the thick, black molasses. A wave of this black syrup 30 feet high and moving 35 miles per hour swept nearby buildings off their foundations and crushed others. It knocked over everything in its path. It flooded basements. Waist deep, the molasses covered the streets. As it swirled and bubbled, you could see figures thrashing about, but it was impossible to tell if they were human or animal. Some said it looked like flies on sticky flypaper, trying to free themselves. Yet, the more they struggled, the deeper in the mess they went. Men, women, animals, all suffered the same fate. After the tidal wave of the black goo, the molasses began to cool. It became thicker and more solid. This made it even more difficult for those caught in it. The initial reports were that 11 people died, some crushed by the debris while others drowned in the molasses. Hundreds of people were injured, and many locals developed fits of coughing that lasted long after the flood. Nearby help came from everywhere: cadets from a nearby nautical school, the police, and the Red Cross. Soon after, Army and Navy personnel arrived. Many nurses from the Red Cross waded into the molasses to aid in the rescue, while others tended to the wounded and fed the exhausted workers. Rescuers had a difficult time making their way through the syrup. They searched for several days. Many of the bodies were so glazed over with molasses that they were hard to recognize. Others were swept into the harbor and weren't found until months later. The initial report of 11 dead rose to 21 as they found the additional bodies in the harbor. To wash away the molasses, cleanup crews pumped salt water from a fireboat in the harbor, and they used sand to help absorb it. It took weeks to clean the area. However, the harbor was brown with molasses and held its sticky odor until summertime. Ironically, it took longer to clean the rest of the Boston suburbs. The sticky syrup has spread everywhere. It was tracked onto subway platforms, seats, streetcars, and to countless other places. It seemed everything in Boston was sticky for a long time. Months after the flood, the victims of the families sued for damages. The company tried to claim that because the molasses was also used for munitions, the tank had been blown up by terrorists. Therefore, they weren't responsible. The courts disagreed. After 3 years of hearings and investigations, they found that the company was liable for the carnage released on Boston Harbor that day. Ultimately, they were forced to pay the victims and family of those killed $628,000 in damages, which would be almost $10 million today. After many years, the flood became local folklore. Some residents claim, for decades, that on a hot summer day, they could still smell the molasses. Many have died in food-related accidents. Take the man that fell into a giant vat of boiling chocolate in a Pennsylvania chocolate factory. But that's a story for another day. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for future videos.